Hello everybody and welcome back to the Rodea the Sky Soldier playthrough. It's time for Chapter 18, Revelation of All-Out Bombardment. And this is a semi-challenging level, sort of, maybe a little bit. If anything, there's at least one or two rather horrendous bonus rooms in this level. When I mentioned nearly dying / actually dying in one of them in like 1 or 2 parts ago, it was this level that I was thinking about. It's probably slightly bad that I was muddling them up, but I mean, they're all snowy levels. So it can be slightly easy to muddle them up every now and again. Also, camera, I would like to actually be facing, the direction you're flinging me. Now, something that I kind of messed up on in my review of Rodea was I thought you were able to... whenever there's an enemy on screen, you get that little kind of camera thing that turns up in the bottom, and that's basically a sort of lock-on feature. And you can turn it off, and I do tend to find it more helpful to turn it off, because then you are in control of the camera, and that is a hell of a lot more useful to you. Because when it's sometimes locked onto enemies, it'll push you in a direction you don't want to be heading. Whereas if you are in complete control of your camera, then you're good to go, really. But what I thought, well, when I became aware that was, like, you could change the camera, in effect, I misjudged how it worked. Because I thought that what it did was that, like, whenever you were going in an area where the camera was, like, control was taken away from you, so to speak, it allowed you to turn that off, and it simply doesn't turn up unless there's an enemy on screen. So I gave Rodea the Sky Soldier a little bit more credit than it was probably due when it came to the camera, because I thought, well, there's no normal way to change how the camera works, which is annoying, but there is this one specific thing available. But because I hadn't really researched how it worked entirely, I got it wrong. So really, the camera in Rodea the Sky Soldier is not the best thing in the world. You've seen it throughout, but I just felt it would probably be prudent just to bring up that I definitely did make a mistake on that one in my review. Doesn't change the way that I feel about the game, because this is still a far better camera control scheme than, say, the Wii U version or the 3DS version. In fact, for the most part, it works. I mean, it works very similarly to, say, the camera in Kid Icarus Uprising. And it suffers the exact same problems as that game did. It's just that there's no ability to change the camera, which is where the problem lies. Not necessarily in how the camera movement works. Still, I hate that enemy. It always just... it tricks me. It's ridiculous. And he's now just taken me completely off my train of thought. What a really mean enemy. Also, I think I'm standing on air. That was quite impressive.
Rodea, I just intercepted a radio transmission.
Oh, did you now?
They're gonna bomb Garuda. Their warship is standing by at their base.
What'd you say?
So... yeah, we've got another instance of needing to destroy a base. Yay! But thankfully it doesn't work quite the same as the previous one did. Because what you've got to do is you've got to open up where the gunpowder is, and that basically ends this chapter, and then you move on to the next chapter, and that's when you place the bombs. So that's kind of a nice little shift, shall we say.
Look, you might be able to enter from there too.
But I mean, I do quite like the idea of this level because it's very vertical, shall we say. It's like we've had this kind of stretch of just going forward, and then we get a thing of going up and down, and this bonus room. Oh, this bonus room. Now, I believe the way you're meant to do this is to run along the bottom. But just the space is so tiny, and I think the time frame in which you have to do it is so titchy that just I don't know why you're meant to do it. I really seriously don't. And that one most certainly killed me when I first played the game, because it was just like, okay. And this is something that I did notice here, which I don't know whether is a normal thing or whether just because I wasn't pushing the button at the right time, but Rodea can't seem to do the boost attack when you're not kind of in standard form. So when you're in damaged state, well, when you're in the damaged state, be a little bit better, you can't do the boost attack at all. Which then means that obviously you can't activate checkpoints, which is really bad. Now I'm being a little bit slow with this, because right now I can get through this fence. I think I just wanted to try and cover more gaps so I didn't put myself at as much risk. But in being so slow, the thing reverted, and then I had to do it all over again, which is just like, really? Thankfully, that one went straight into place, which means that we can get to the switch, and therefore progress. Hell yeah! And now we begin our climb all the way up to the switch at the top of the tower. Which is just going to be a whole lot of fun, I should think.
Rodea, find the switch.
Probably, yeah, it's on the ceiling. Now, pretty much, if you've got the gun pickup, and you should have, just get that to get rid of the enemy that does the electric shield, and then you don't even need to worry about the others, because they don't attack.
Okay, I'm at the base now.
Make your way to the top.
And for some reason I thought that was an item. I think my brain just goes, ooh, flashy sparkly thing, I need to grab it. Doesn't always work. I mean, I suppose when you've been playing games like, say, Uncharted, which I have been doing recently because I got the Uncharted collection on PS4, that is what your kind of collectibles are. Like, all the treasures are just small glinting things in the level, which is not the best way of doing hidden collectibles, I must say. It's exactly the same problem I had with Tomb Raider Underworld. Because in Tomb Raider Legend, you had the kind of pretty big collectibles, like they were perfectly visible to you, and that meant that you could then go, right, so that's there, I need to figure out how to get to it. Whereas when it's just a small glinting thingy, it's finding a needle in a haystack, really. And that's not always the most fun way of doing game design. But obviously, having played at least enough games where that type of hiding items is a common tactic, whenever I see a sparkle, I go for it. And this is our gold legacy medal for this particular chapter, which is... it's surprisingly easy, all things considered. Like, you would have thought that the gold one would be pretty gosh darn hard, but for the most part, I've always seemed to find the silver ones to be slightly more difficult, or at least some of the silver ones anyway. There may be the odd gold one that's really difficult, but like ones like that are just dead easy. But then that earlier silver one that I just failed miserably at, you're just like, how is this so much more difficult than the final one? Like, what? Still, once you've gone up pretty much this far on the tower, you can just keep climbing, and it's dead easy and dead fun. And I mean, just look at how tall this thing is. It's great. And we're very, very near to the end of the chapter, which is quite nice. But obviously we do have to deal with this fella, so it's not all roses. Thankfully, we do have a pretty fun descent, from what I recall. Because once you've hit the switch, you've just got to get all the way down to where gunpowder's stored. So, yeah, it's just a kind of slide down almost.
How's it going, Ion?
We did it! The storage room is open now!
Now, I think I was hoping that there was kind of something else hidden up there, but I just thought, nope, it's not worth it. Because the time it would have taken to have a run round, it was just like, no, we're at the end of the level now, let's just go to the end of the level. There's no point in wasting any more time. And there we go! Chapter over! Hell yeah!
Hurry, Rodea! Their warship is about to take off!
And yeah, kind of expectant. Ooh! We got an A! I will take that! Time to move on to Chapter 19.